What up, YouTube? And welcome to Mancini Spills the Tea with me, your host, Giambattista Mancini. As always, I dedicate this episode to Princess of Hungary and Archbabe of Austria, Mary Elizabeth. First off, I'ma plug the newest edition of my manifesto, The Practical Reflections on the Art of Singing, originally published in 1774, but the boy added a few new tips and tricks, so I gotta publish a new one, and it's 1777 now, so 3 years later, 3 years wiser, baby! In this episode, I'm gonna be spilling the tea on the power of good music and good singing, and, of course, throwing some shade at bad singing. Let's start out with the basics. Y'all already know that music is capable of making us forget the pains of life. Lets us feel exquisite sentiments. And makes us conscious of delicate feelings. Let's see what the smart dudes of old, like Plato, Aristotle, Cicerone, and St. Augustine say about music. Heavenly, celestial, pleasurable, suave, powerful, relief from human miseries. So yeah, music is dope. Singing it though, is tough. And in my humble opinion, singing is better when you've got the rule book, not when you have to learn by examples. Let's be honest. Experience is the wisest teacher of the arts. I also think that wherever there is speech, there is song, and I've got a lot of experience talking, so y'all already know where this is going. I have nothing more to say, except to encourage the young students and lovers of art to apply themselves with earnestness and goodwill in order that they may someday become an honor to themselves, to their country, to their art. Yeet! Let's move on. Rant alert! Rant alert! I'ma be honest. Teachers nowadays are not what they used to be. Greedy teachers just push students into contracts that they're not ready for. This presents to the public untrained voices and underdeveloped intelligences, which in the long run just hold the students back. If you don't find yourself possessed of a natural gift for teaching and the knowledge necessary to impart the instruction, please don't become a teacher. Teachers used to focus on building the puzzle pieces of musicianship, but nowadays they're too focused on #money and #glory. They push their singers to sing things that are too difficult for them. What then are the results of this newly invented method? I will tell you. It produces the ruin of beautiful voices. Sometimes, teacher messes up a student's voice by making them sing unnaturally, in their wrong voice type. And one more thing. It is a profanation of the art that a bad violin or piano player should have the presumption of calling himself a vocal teacher without knowing the prime elements of singing. Have you ever been pushed past your limits to sing in an unhealthy way by your teacher? Let me know in the comments. Maybe I'll make a rant video about that. And now, a shout out to the good teachers. The success of pupils in the liberal arts depends on how well their teacher teaches. Like, even if a teacher isn't the best, highest skilled singer, if they teach efficiently, they can still give a grace of distinction to their student. In short, good teachers make good singers. Bad teachers make bad singers. Duh! Sorry, y'all, got carried away. Let's talk about the basics of good singing. Setting your kid up for a lifetime of singing is a big decision, so this first message goes out to the parents. Don't set your kid up for a lifetime of failure by pushing them into something that they're not really that good at. Let us take away from the parents' belief that because they hear their child sing some little song in a graceful manner that they are competent to judge. In other words, you're not experts, Mom and Dad. Leave that up to the professionals. 1. The lungs are not the organs responsible for the voice. There's a lot more going on, and you need a harmonious proportion in order to have a good singing voice. No offense, but if your lips don't close symmetrically, if you have crooked teeth, or if your nose is too long or too flat, you are defective and you will not be a good singer. Sorry, not sorry. If you have a sweet face, you will be well received. If you have harsh features or a comely appearance, you will not be well received. Hashtag aesthetic matters, my dudes. Speaking of hashtag aesthetic, we need to talk about the way that singers open their mouths. Based on my experience, if you open your mouth too wide or not enough, you will both look bad and sound bad. Your voice will be rough and unpleasant. Now, a lot of times, students hear their teachers say, open your mouth more. And then they open it so widely that it looks like the door to a little oven. LOL! Open your mouth more when you sing. If a singer isn't talented enough to succeed in secular music, maybe steer them towards the religious life, because there are some good jobs in cathedrals and stuff. You could be a music director, you could be in a choir. There is nothing worse. Singing out of pitch cannot be disguised nor overcome. I would rather hear a throaty voice or a nasal voice. There is truly nothing worse. Now, if after all that, your child's going to be a singer, I recommend the Venice conservatories. In addition to music, they teach religion and good morals. Hashtag grace, fam. This is the best way to teach singing. You ready? Buckle up, biddies. 1. Start by teaching portamento. That's moving well from one note to another. This will allow your student to do a bunch of other cool things. They will learn to color as they wish any kind of melody with that true expression, which is needed so much in any kind of singing. 2. Appoggiaturas, trillos, and mordentes are just embellishments, but they're super important. They're just as necessary. I'll circle back to that later. 3. Insist on a good messa di voce. I'm a big fan of the messa di voce. With a bad start and no control, messa di voces are gross AF. This abuse, the messa di voce, is already too grown up and out of proportion these days. These students that I feel that my suggestions will not be enough to eradicate this evil. I'm going to speak directly to the students now. Here are my tips for singing success. 1. Without rigid practice, the best talents are lost. So practice! 2. Imitation is the most sincere form of flattery, and being able to imitate another musician speaks to your musicianship, but it could cause you to lose your own natural talents in the process. 3. Art consists in one's ability to know what nature intended it to be. If something feels comfy, go with it. If it's not comfy, don't do it. 4. Never force your voice. Let it be known that to force a voice is one of the greatest errors a singer can commit. TBH. It's really easy to misinterpret the power of your own voice when you're in a big space when it's empty versus when you're in a big space when it's full of people. So, never try and force your voice in a performance. It's a really easy mistake to make. Instead, try expanding it and extending it little by little. #pro tips. 5. Learn how to act. Get your body in shape for performance. To do this, I recommend dancing, fencing, and horseback riding. These are all totally accessible and easy for anyone to get involved with. 6. Treat applause as encouragement to keep studying, not as the finish line. Young women get praised once, and then they're like, I'm through with my studies, I'm done, I don't need to improve. And then they never get to the next level. They never level up. Classic females, am I right? 7. Don't be a sensitive, stuck-up little baby. Your teachers rebuke you with love and desire to see in you the improvement corresponding to the attention with which they teach you. Being a good singer has less to do with your range and more to do with working what you've got. Size doesn't matter. The worth will always depend upon the evenness of quality throughout the whole register and perfect intonation. A good singer can make beautiful art even if their range isn't as big as someone else's, because it's all about agility. Agility is a singular gift of nature and cannot be acquired. And now, let's talk ornaments. The music we look at only shows enough musical phrasing to allow the talented interpreter full liberty to embellish as he desires and conceives. In other words, the student only sees the embryo of the music. If you have some sick colors to your voice, you can do some sick embellishments. The trill is the most important embellishment. Change my mind. Rant alert! Rant alert! If you can't trill, you will be at a loss at many points in singing. And if you don't trill at the end of your cadence, then it will sound languid and lacking. I'm just saying. Trills are indispensable. Why is the trill neglected? Pardon me, teachers of singing. Forgive me for speaking this truth. #T. A defective trill is also bad and will make you sound like a goat or a horse.
A trill is composed of 2 notes, the real one and the higher one. It's a whole tone higher. They vibrate equally between the two and end on the real one.
A mordente is similar, but the mordente is between a real note and a note a half step lower. They vibrate unequally, but they both end on the real note still. They still do that. A martellato is composed of 4 notes. The first one's higher, and then the next 3 are like, and then an arpeggiato is outlining a chord. Cadenzas are the epilogues to songs, not a chance to show off. Stop flexing on them. To be good at a cadenza, you must 1. Be sure about your intonation, because you don't want to modulate to somewhere weird. 2. Control your breathing. And 3. Be creative and smart. Modern artists make some pretty #uninspired graces, and one listens to them with more pity than pleasure. Here's an example. A vollatina is a really fast scale. If you close your throat to control it, your vollatina disgusts the hearer and evokes pity instead of delight. TBH, you don't need agility to be good. Just don't fake technique that you don't have. Your ornaments have to make sense. Just like punctuation and grammar and writing, you have to take into account all the shades, colors, accentuations, pauses, everything in your voice when you sing. #grace. I have been talking rather too long on this topic, but I am so fond of this subject that I could talk of it all the time and never tire. Should I do a follow-up vlog? LMK in the comments. Maybe I will. You know who ornaments perfectly? Farinello. I stan Farinello. His ornaments are perfect. He's awesome. His breathing. His intonation. Unfolding. The extension and expansion of his voice. His portamentos. The perfect union of registers. The sparkling agility. I could go on. And I do, in my manifesto, now available. Check it out. Okay, guys, that's it for this episode of Mancini Spills the Tea with your host, me, Giambattista Mancini. So remember to like and subscribe.